Hi guys, we are Social Lens Podcast, and this is Chiu.
And this is Jules.
So, you guys may remember that last time we discussed about side effects of social media. So, social media is a really important source in our life, and we use it every day. So, we discussed about it last time, but for now, we thought that we should discuss about the structural problems that lies in our society, like for example, our law system. So today we're going to talk about how our law system is decayed and what kind of problems exist in our current law system. So Jules, have you ever think about those problems?
Yes, I actually it's really interesting subject to me that some law are not going properly. For example, everyone probably ever heard once in their lifetime about burning sun scandal. Um, about this kind of cases, it's really crazy how suddenly from Big Bang he got only 1 and 6 years in jail. He did a lot of sexual assault and he goes around with his friend sending videos that are not appropriate. They're not appropriate. Um, like this kind of cases, it really is crazy how laws are not really affecting on these people. But on the other hand, things like Mariana Kimbap, where there's one case, a person who is 20 years old was making drug kimbap, and it didn't really affect anyone. He or she ate kimbap itself, but like how this was more bigger, how he was being sentenced in a jail was more crazy rather than a guy who sexual assault woman.
I think it is quite crazy because it shows the reality of our law systems. And actually, I mean, like what you said, it gives me like there are really selective justice exist. Like, it is really clear that Sung Lee, who was the main character of Burning Sun instance, like he was the one who did a real crime, and of course the guy who made drug Mariana Kimbap on his own is, yeah, he did wrong, but it doesn't make sense that he got more sentence to be in jail than Sung Lee, so it is really unfair. So I think that's one of the problem of our law system. So like as I think about those instances, I think we should go deep down about why those judgments are created, like why there are wrong judgments and why there are non-logical judgments. And for me, I think it is because the structure of our law system, like there is thing called former officials advantage, and this is like the influence of closed networks. As you know, there would be judges and prosecutors in the trial, and the prosecutors and judges, when they retire, they go to like they become a lawyer and they start to work as a lawyer. And if those former prosecutors or judges attend to the trial as a lawyer, the judges and the prosecutors of the trial would be their junior.
Yes.
Like, so for example, if I was a prosecutor once and now I am a lawyer, and I saw Jules as a judge, which she was my junior student. So for Jules, she cannot like say no, or she cannot like give a harsh sentence to the lawyer who was her
Senior.
senior. So I think that is one of the problems. So
Wow. Now knowing this kind of stuff are happening around the law system, and it's my first time to actually really know what's going on with the law, because I'm not really into the law, but I am eager to now know deep down what's hiding inside our social life.
hiding inside our social life. So yeah, that is one of the like shocking side of our society. And I want to ask you, Jules, have you ever heard about the Brock Turner? He was a crime in United States. And have you ever heard of him?
Oh no, it's a new story for me.
Oh, so let me explain. Like he, like Seung Lee, he also did a sexual assault to a woman, and he was only 22 years old. And I'm not sure, but I heard that he attended to a really kind of great college in United States. He studied really hard. So he was 22 years old and he did some bad things. So theoretically he should be like sentenced for 14 years, like because the reason why his maximum possible sentence for 14 years is that he was really vicious. He sexually assaulted an unconscious woman behind the dumpster. Like, it is really, really. It is terrible. Like, so everyone thought that judge will sentence him like 14 years, but the judge sentenced him to just 6 months in jail, of which he served only 3. And the reason for that judgment is that he's too young, and the judge thought that he should like live his own life after the sentence. And it raged all over the world. Like, people was like, that is crazy. Like, he assaulted unconscious woman and only 3 months. Like, that doesn't make sense. So when I heard of it, I was like, yeah, this is really a question, because whether the justice system was protecting the victim or preserving the life of a crime person, like, that is so unreal.
Wow, hearing this kind of story actually really makes me wonder where we should draw the line. Hearing that Brock Turner is at still a young age and he still will be out there in society, giving this kind of sentences to him, like this kind of giving him like a second chance, maybe it could work to some people who didn't really do a deadly crime. But this kind of stuff really makes a shame on the law system, since that something really bad should face its own consequences. But this is just giving me someone another chance because he have like a bright life. Well, in the other hand, to the person who actually got assaulted, it will be terrifying to know that the man who assaulted her will be out there like in 10, 14 years. Like, it's crazy how law are really not working on some people who deserve it.
I really agree with that. Like, the law itself is not serving his place really well. So, like, Brock Turner event was kind of, it is discovered. Like, it is not really undiscovered. Everyone knows about it. So I was wondering if you ever heard about some crimes or criminals that are not solved yet.
Oh yes, we also have same kind of issue in South Korea. One of the crime that happened also is quite similar to Brock Turner. We also have one Seoul National University student who violated her girlfriend till she was killed by his hand. But this judge, he sentences him very little just because he is a doctor and was from Seoul National University, which is top one university in Korea.
Yeah, I think I heard of it, and I think it doesn't really make sense because the law system should make a judgment, not like interpret their stances with some bias or social privilege, and that doesn't make really sense because if I were a judge, I would like to sentence people regardless of their job or their social stances, and that is actually right thing to do. And currently, I think it is kind of harsh thing to our lawyers, but I think like almost nobody in Korea is doing the right, and I'm sure that there will be other lawyers that doing wrong in other countries. But I want to say one thing that I heard that in the United States there is a law that restricts former judges or prosecutors not to be a lawyer again. So there wouldn't be a cartel in the law system, and I think that is actually made up because United States is quite large and there are other factors, but I think that system is really effective to prevent those kind of cartels or misjudgments. So I think Korea should actually introduce the system too.
Yes, it is kind of crazy how a name to be a doctor that will save some people's life are out there killing other people's daughter, son. It is crazy how this kind of laws are not really effective, and I'm judge if it really happened to its daughter. Like, will you still give the same sentence if it was your daughter?
Yeah, I think that's the whole point because there are nowadays there are YouTube channels that show us a lot of news, and when we see the comments, they're all they're really angry and they say like you would do the same thing if the victims were your family, and we all know that they wouldn't do. So everything is just going on with some connections and privilege, and that's so one thing that Korea should fix, or other countries that have same problems.
All right, that was really interesting story for today. I am really happy to hear Jiwoo's opinion on social law.
Yeah, me too. I always thought about these problems because one day I wanted to be a lawyer and I hope to be a lawyer. So I had a dream about I want to make the world